Hey, this is Overpass Insights. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today, sometimes it's better to visit a client to troubleshoot an issue. Alright, so today I'm filming the video at night. It's actually really cool this time of night. It's all dark and quiet and mysterious. It's been raining all day, so it's a bit misty. Anyway, the reason I'm in the office at night or working late tonight is because I was out of the office for a large part of the day and it was a bit unplanned, right? I went to go visit a client and it wasn't a planned visit like I was doing a proposal or giving an update on the project. It was mainly because to fix something. So I don't know how you guys distribute your Android apps when you work with a client. The ideal situation is we just put it onto Google Play as an alpha build or a beta build, but sometimes they don't have their Google Play set up just yet, or sometimes that's just a bit too complicated, so we'll use Diawi, or we'll use Test Fairy, or sometimes we'll just send the APK, right? We'll either do it through, just attach it to an email, but a lot of times corporate emails will filter those out, so you'll send it through like a Google Drive link or a Dropbox link, right? And just send it through and have them install it. So that's what we did this time. This time we used Diawi and we sent it to a client and basically they came back and said, okay, I'm getting a permission denied error. So we thought, oh, obviously we know what that is. You have to go into Android settings and say allow unknown sources or third party or whatever it is, depending on the Android version. And they said, okay, I've done that and I'm still getting the same error, right? So we're thinking, okay, are you sure you've done it? So we keep going through back and forth, what version of Android are you on? Which kind of phone do you have? The developers are scratching their heads over it. I'm scratching my heads over it. And in the end, I thought, well, you know what? We're not getting anywhere here. And I could, sometimes when you could tell the patience is starting to wane a little bit of your client or your user or your customer, I thought, okay, why don't I just come out there and visit you? You're only like an hour away. I'll make a bit of time and go out there. And sure enough, they made some time for me. I went in, I said, could you please show me the error that you're getting when you're trying to install the application? And it wasn't even getting to that point. It wasn't even downloading the APK. It was the network filter of the corporation was not allowing Diawi. So it was like as an unknown source or so it was like we never would have got there. And if I hadn't made that trip out there, we could have spent another week trying to troubleshoot that. Like nobody could figure out what it was. And sometimes it's just easier just to see the issue up front. Even though it's a bit out of the way, it's a bit less convenient. You want to do everything via email, send me screenshots, all that stuff. But sometimes it's easier to just dude, show it to me. All right. So when I used to work in investment banks, we used to do this a lot. We would try to solve everything via email. Okay, what's the issue that you're having? And you'd have we had a system, like a help desk system called Remedy, which is very popular, and it sucked. I hated using Remedy. But we would have these tickets on there where, we would have these web applications that we worked on, and we would have tickets this person on the trading floor can't get it to work, or he's getting an error here, and so you would email them, say, what kind of error are you getting? And they'll say, it just says it's not working. And they say, are you using Internet Explorer or are you using a different browser? They said, yeah, I'm using Internet Explorer. So you're like, I can't figure out what it is. And sometimes the tickets would stay there for weeks, right? Because people can't figure out what it is. Well, it should be working. It should be working. And finally, I got into the habit of just going down to their desks and seeing it. Can you show me this issue that you're having? Because nobody else wanted to do it. And a lot of times I could close it down in 5 minutes, right? I mean, sometimes they would say things like, oh yeah, no, I'm using Internet Explorer, but they weren't. I think they just wanted to, they just thought it sounded cool to say. I don't know why they told me they're using Internet Explorer. They just thought all browsers were called Internet Explorer, right? So you see that, okay, it's not the right browser, so you can fix it in a few minutes, right? And I've had one where the character encoding was set to Japanese, and for some reason I set it to English and it worked immediately. So there's something in the character encoding that interfered with the JavaScript. But all this stuff would have been much more harder to find out if I didn't just make that visit. Now, the nice thing about apps is that if you have analytics, you can figure this kind of stuff out remotely, but sometimes you don't have that. Sometimes you have clients that don't want to use it, and sometimes it's just easier. Just go out there and just see it to make that trip. Now, I used to have a manager that would always criticize me for never getting on the phone. Like, you try to do everything via email, Eric, and sometimes you just need to get somebody on the phone. And I'm guilty. I'm not a big fan of calling somebody and interrupting them, but you know, as a developer, I'm much more introverted. I prefer to just email everything, but I was glad I made the trip today. Like, if you do have clients that you're working with and you're local, that's the benefit you have of being local. Sometimes you just get in your car, drive down there. For me, it was an hour each way, but it saved days of time trying to troubleshoot this issue. So anyway, let me know if you guys ever had a situation like that where you try to figure out everything remotely, but if you get in the vicinity, then it works out better for you. So anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to you guys again next time.